it started?
It has started. Welcome to the No Rules podcast. This is the No Rules section of the Channel 84.
Yeah, hang on. You know I've come completely lost already.
Well, I mean more of Channel 84 as us two, the Variety Show and the Untitled Trek Show.
Yeah, fair enough. I understand what you mean now.
I think I'm even less scripted than Socks. So I really don't do anything. I just we talk about what sci-fi we've watched, and we talk about the episode, or we answer questions. I'd argue I have the most scripted thing with the shit show.
Yes,
most scripted.
100%.
So then I have to balance that off with the most unscripted and unplanned section, which is the main actual show. Number one on nearly all science fiction parts of Good Pods.
Yeah, we get there, don't we? Somehow we get there.
Somehow. Someone's listening somewhere.
Anyway, what sci-fi have you watched?
That's just why they take a sip of my drink.
Sorry, I had to get in there first for once.
What sci-fi have I watched? You know what? Not well, other than the episode, is what we always say. Ha ha ha! Joke. Have I watched? Not really any sci-fi. We've started watching Supernatural. Does that really count? That's like,
fantasy and sci-fi. Let's put it this way: if Netflix or Prime or whatever your streaming provider of choice is, if they list it as sci-fi and fantasy, then it counts.
Okay. Well, in that case, we've finished all of The Walking Dead.
Okay.
We've binge watched The Ones Who Lived, which is like the special one with Michonne and Rick.
Yeah.
Series, and we've watched. Miranda started watching Supernatural again.
Carry on my wayward son.
And I looked over to her and was like, "You're watching Supernatural," when we were playing Helldivers the other day, and I said, "You can't watch anymore now because I want to watch it too." Because we'd never watched the last series. We had it on Blu-ray, and for whatever reason,
you never got round to it.
We just never got round to it, and it was like it was our thing for such a long time. Like for us, Supernatural was bigger than Game of Thrones. It was such a big because I'd never heard of it when I met Miranda. She'd been watching it, and then she brought I think the first 3 seasons on DVD so we could watch them.
Yeah,
and then we watched them all the way through. I could have my own podcast on Supernatural. We've watched so much of it, apart from the last series.
Well, let's have another spin-off.
Yeah,
the Untitled.
The Untitled Supernatural, the unfinished Supernatural series. And we started it again. So I've started from episode 4 because you'd already watched the first 4 episodes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we've been doing. Absolutely love Supernatural. The more I watch, they look so young in that first series. Really, really young. Jensen Ackles and Jared, I don't want to crucify his surname because it's quite complicated. They look so young. I don't imagine how old they are at the time.
Well, I was just going to say, look, I've got the iPad in front of me. So how long ago was the first series? I know it's not the variety show and we don't normally do that sort of stuff.
No, we do quizzes on this. We do quizzes on what we're talking about. Okay. So again, now we've got to work by my age.
327 episodes.
Yeah.
I don't know what that translates into.
I think 2015
series.
2002.
Not bad. 2005.
Oh, you know what? I do this all the time. That was a number in my head first. I went, no, that's too late. It's got to be earlier.
So 19 years ago.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous, isn't it? Mm-hmm. 19 years. And there, you're right. You've got Jared Padalecki and Jensen Ackles.
Yeah, I love both of those two. They're very attractive men.
So let me have a quick look here. Actually.
Jared does not changed how he looks from then to now. Other than he looks a bit more baby-faced at the beginning. But if you see him now, you know, he just looks like he doesn't age, like he's a vampire. And then Jensen has just got more attractive the older he's got.
So Jensen was 27.
He was 27?
He was 27.
God, he was
born 1978. And if my maths is right, 20 years plus 2 takes you to 2000. So that's 22 plus the 5 to 2 there. So 27.
So he's 7 years older than me.
Yeah. And let me have a look at what Jared was. Jared was born 1982, so 2 years older than me, sorry. So 1982, so he would have been 23.
Yeah, that looks right for him. Jensen looked like, to be fair, he looked like he was a bit younger than that. But yeah, they both... Yeah, Jensen is just really attractive man.
Right. I'm just looking at pictures of him actually at the moment. What else has he been in?
He's in The Boys.
He's in the
at the moment. Yeah, he's in The Boys at the moment.
Oh, right. Right, okay.
As a pretty badass character, yeah.
Oh,
Lots of
he's,
swearing and stuff.
what's his character in The
I
Boys?
cannot remember the character.
He's not the dad of...
No, he's like their version of Captain America.
Right, okay. That makes sense. Okay, and that's the picture I
and
can
then
see
obviously
of
the
him
dad from Supernatural is in The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
He's Negan in The Walking Dead. Link those two together. I think one of them. I think Jensen Ackles was in that terrible House of Wax film
He was, yes.
that had the Hilton lady. Paris Hilton was in it. Wasn't she?
Oh dear, yes, Paris Hilton, not a classically trained actor.
No.
Classically trained at maybe swallowing, but certainly not doing acting. Yeah, fair
Thank you
enough.
for listening to the last ever episode of the Untitled Trek Show where we get cancelled.
Oh, I doubt us saying something against Paris Hilton's going to get us cancelled.
I think she's not quite so disliked nowadays.
No, she went into being a DJ, didn't she? And
Is that what she's been doing?
yeah, I think she became a DJ and was doing DJ sort of stuff, and
Garage?
then a little bit of garage. Nice.
And what have you been watching then?
What have I been watching? I'm sorry. You actually have to ask a question on a podcast.
Just looking at you,
It's an
yeah.
audio format. People can't see the look.
I'm giving you the look again.
Oh dear.
That's the audio sound of the look.
I've been watching the new Planet of the Apes films. I loved the original Planet of the Apes films, so the ones from the 60s and 70s.
Well, how old is Caesar now?
I don't know, actually. I haven't watched the new one, the one that was or still at the cinema. I didn't realise I missed one, so that's the one I'm actually catching up on. So
Right.
I'd seen, let's see, the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, so that's the first one in the
Seen that
new
one.
one, which is,
Yeah.
the virus, and they realise what's happening. Then I'd seen the next one after that, which is when they're trying to do...
John Franco, whatever his name is in that, right?
Yeah, James, is it James Franco?
yeah.
James Franco and John Lithgow.
John Franco.
Yeah,
That's his lesser known brother.
John Lithgow is the one you
Lithgow.
might have been thinking
No,
of there.
it
So-
wasn't. I just did got James Franco's name wrong.
fair
Thank you for
enough.
trying to save me, but I can't be saved.
Then you had the next one after that, which is where they're trying to save the hydroelectric dam.
Yeah, I think I've seen that one.
And then I didn't realise... in fact, let me just quickly type them in here because...
Yeah, so the fourth one's just come out then.
that's what I'm just looking at now. 2 seconds.
There's definitely one I haven't seen.
So let's have a look. Yeah, you've got Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Definitely seen it, yeah.
Which is, I'm pretty sure that's the first one of the reimagining of it anyway. Almost certain it is anyway. I'd like, John.
Jesus Christ. Do people really like listening to this shit? Get on with it, man.
Yeah, where the city is starting to kind of be in ruin a little bit. They're trying to save the hydroelectric dam. So that was 2014. And then
Nope.
it was
I can't take
years
it. Butt
later,
piss.
2017. I love them for what they are. I love the original one, even though The Simpsons ripped the piss out of it with the Dr. Zaius.
I was just
Dr.
about to
Zaius,
say
Dr. Zaius.
Dr. Zaius.
I love the one where the apes escape and they go back in time and end up on Earth and they're talking.
Nope.
Like, talking
Still going.
and stuff like that.
So those 8 films, for me, they live in the same realm as the remakes of these King Kong and Godzillas, in that I have no idea which ones I've seen, which ones I haven't, and I'm completely lost. One of them was on the telly yesterday or today, and we're like, oh, let's watch it, and then we're like, which one is this?
Nice.
It was one of the King Kongs. I had a big picture of King Kong, and I was like, is this the first King Kong one, or the second one, or is it the one with that's got Godzilla in it?
King Kong Skull Island.
I don't know which ones I've
Yeah.
seen. I know I've seen at least one of them. I couldn't tell you which one it was.
You should probably watch. I'm quite fond of that series. I don't know why. The Godzilla films aren't wonderful, but they're not terrible. They're a bit of fun.
We enjoyed them. I remember enjoying them, watching them. But again, it's just one of those things where something must have happened, because at the time we were going to cinema a lot.
Yeah.
And we had the Cineworld cards like you. So we were going a lot to the cinema, but it just must have just passed us by.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough. These things happen, don't they? There's so many of them come out. I didn't even realise until I went and saw it that Godzilla X Kong, the latest one that came out this year, was even a thing. It was just, I was at the cinema going, well, what one should I watch on the Cineworld account? And it's like, oh, well, I'll watch that then.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know what? I don't blame you for not knowing, because they do just... to be fair, as I said, they're fun.
Yeah.
They're not memorable stories.
Yeah.
They aren't such good, wonderful stories that you're going to go, I remember every single part of that. They do just merge into one. I know they are meant to be a continuing story, but there's nothing that special about them that's going to make you go, yeah, that really stands out, so I'm going to remember it. So I don't blame you for not remembering it, really.
Unlike Star Trek Prodigy.
Enter authorization code.
I'm glad you noticed that straight away. We didn't get too far. Just as we're jinxing ourselves, we were talking about never losing a recording.
We've never lost any, I nearly said footage, it's not footage, any audio from a show, except for the Lower Decks episode where we went to London, and that wasn't our fault. That wasn't us not pressing record. That was a firmware issue with the radio mics we were using at that time. So that was completely that fault. There was nothing we could have done about that. There was nothing we did wrong. But that, yes, would have been the first time we purposely, well, not purposely, but our fault had lost footage then. And no audio.
Footage. Yeah, so... we set you the homework of watching... Had you ever seen Star Trek Prodigy before?
I'd started the first couple of episodes in the background like I normally do when I was working and watching TV at the same time. So I'd kind of seen parts of it as I'd worked, but not paid 100% attention to it. So I'm going to say no, I hadn't, because I think that's fair, because I hadn't put any attention towards it. So it hadn't been given a fair viewing.
What was your knowledge of it prior to this?
Prior to it, I'd only heard about it on kind of Twitter and the social, and then the trailers that came out for it. And I kind of got the idea that people were saying this is a way to introduce the new generation of kids to Star Trek. That's what it came across as, especially as Nickelodeon were involved in making that first series. So yeah, for me, it wasn't, I'm not going to watch it because it's a kid show. You know us, we like watching kids shows, especially when they're decent. And yeah, it looked good. So I thought I will give it a chance at some point.
Yeah.
How about yourself? When had you come across it for the first time?
First time I ever heard about it was you mentioning it on the podcast.
Yeah.
And you pretty much said something similar to that. And then we went to the Lower Decks thing, and they had a little bit about it then. That was the first time I'd ever seen it.
Oh, of course they did. Yes, you're
They did a
right.
little
They
trailer
did.
about it, because that was one of the places they announced they were going to do a second series of it. Or no, it was in the... They had the bit about...
We don't know where we're going at the moment, didn't they? They said the future is...
And then it showed things, and that was in there, and it made a big implication there was going to be another series of Prodigy, but not from Paramount.
They'd cancelled it at that point. They then cancelled it.
It was actually at Netflix, so maybe there was just their kind of thing of being like, oh, this will come. Because I know the people behind us were really excited that thought that this could mean another series of Prodigy.
100%. In fact, yeah, you know what? I'm pretty sure it had been cancelled at that point. Because, there was the murmurings of, well, you've cancelled it, blah, blah, blah. But then there was the excitement. It came on screen because you're right. People were like, does this mean it's been given a second chance? This is brilliant news.
Well, season 1 isn't even on their app.
Oh, no, it's all on Netflix.
It's all on Netflix, because I went straight to Paramount Plus to watch it.
See, I'm glad I didn't, because, oops, I cancelled Paramount Plus.
Well, it's not going to help you in this Star Trek podcast.
It'll be fine. I've got ways around it. But the point is there's nothing on Paramount Plus at the moment. I can't warrant that £6 or £7 it is a month for, I think all I was doing is turning it on once a month, if that.
For me to tell you how we have Paramount Plus is going to open me up to some more.
Yeah, let's not go down that route. Hey,
some more of you telling me off.
No, come on, Lurpak boy.
Man. Right. So, the season 1, episode 1 of Prodigy.
Accessing library computer data.
Lost and Found, part one, as we found out.
Yeah, we didn't realise it was a two-parter.
Yeah, we didn't. And I purposely didn't watch the second part, knowing that I'd only said to watch the first episode.
Exactly. So we've not watched the second part. We've only watched part one,
Yeah.
which takes us all the way up, spoilers, to them discovering
What
the
looks...
protostar.
Is that what the...
That's the name of the ship, yeah.
Right, it looked like Voyager. My comment on it was it looks a lot like a Voyager.
Yeah,
Same class of ship, surely.
it looks a similar class, I would say. Is it like the Enterprise E? Mm-hmm. Is it the Enterprise E version of Voyager? So
Voyager
the next
E.
generation of Voyager.
Yes, the Voyager E.
So, with the Voyager B, I guess it would be, wouldn't it?
It'd be called the Voyaged.
Well, for all we know, it's a completely different class of ship because we haven't seen it fly yet.
Yeah, it'd be called the Bon Voyage.
That's just... No. Stop recording. No.
Right. Let's talk about the episode as it plays out. It has a pretty good intro.
Yeah, the intro is really good. I would say, and this isn't going to be the first time you hear me say this, it rings music-wise and sound-wise more about and more like the Kelvin timeline of Star Trek, and by that I mean the Chris Pine era of Star Trek movies that we've had in the past. Again, they're old, 20 years now. So that's what it sounded like. It didn't sound like a classic TNG or Voyager or Deep Space Nine. It sounded far more modern.
Well, it was quite short because because I have only seen this one. I don't know if, like we did say with Orville, how that first episode didn't have a Star Trek intro. It was the second episode of Orville that had the Star Trek intro. It was quite short, had the great music, but then it kind of quickly transitioned into the show.
Yes.
The gems. So that's what I really liked about it. It was kind of doing a Star Trek intro with the stars and having the badge come up, and then suddenly it all turned into these yellow gemstones, and off it goes, and it's into the mines.
Yeah, you know what, actually, it kind of felt a bit like some of the classic Star Trek films as well, because it kind of had that... Often, if you looked at some of the classic Star Trek films, ignoring some of the ones like, the motion picture, which is near, I think it's something like 6 or 7 minutes of the intro is just black screen with a little bit of music, some stars, and names. Yeah. And that's it. So ignoring that, but if you look at a couple of the later ones, it does that. It does the music, obviously a little bit longer than they did for this, but yeah, then it kind of disappears into and merges into the beginning of the film.
Yeah. I mention it again later, but it, like in Star Wars, how you have the kind of the text scroll and then the camera pans down into some action. That's kind of how it felt. Yeah, there wasn't text, but it kind of felt like that. And I would say a lot of this could easily have been a Star Wars show.
I am so glad you said that, because I was literally just going to preface what I was going to say is this may upset a lot of Trekkies, it may upset the Save Lower Decks people, but oh my God, the creators of this, whether you think this is right or wrong, did this absolutely right by the kids of our generation. So the kids of, not the kids of our generation, sorry, the kids of this generation. So the kids of this generation have grown up with Disney Star Wars. Yeah. Which, let's face it, and if you're a Star Wars fan, I make no apologies for this, the first three, the original 3 films, are fine. Yeah, they're fine. They are bloody boring.
They're not the Phantom Menace.
And they are so slow in everything. It's just like you're watching the lightsaber play, and it's like, I could have stabbed you 14 times by the time you did that swing, Luke. What the hell? Yet the ones that we get now, they're bouncing all over the... Even like, from episode 1 onwards, they're bouncing all over the place. And they've kind of taken that energy and put it straight into Prodigy. And everything else kind of feels very Star Wars-ish as well. So you've got... what's his name? I'm just having a quick look here because I've... Dreadnought.
Yep.
Feels... straight, what's the name of the robot one in...
General Grievous.
Feels very Grievous, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But yet the energy feels Star Wars.
It felt like they were on a
Star
Sith
Trek
base. The whole thing, it felt like Star Wars, but it's Star Trek.
Yeah. The little watchers, the little drone
The Watchers,
things.
yeah.
Battle droids.
Yeah.
Battle droids and the little roly ones as well, especially when they're like, one of them gets blasted away and you just go and go, ha!
Stiddy listens and he's going to correct me. Are they called Droidica? Stiddy, you can message me. You're allowed to correct me.
I think
on that.
so, yeah. But it just kind of feels like they went, look, we know Star Wars is more popular than Star Trek. We know Star Trek, if you look at the original series, TNG, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, blah, 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 they're not exactly action-packed series. And yes, we get action in those. So the Borg fights in TNG,
Yeah.
Deep Space Nine, we get an amazing kind of war between the Federation, the Bajorans, and another one that you will come across. I'm not going to ruin that for you. Voyager against all the races they come across, all the Borg stuff in that. So we get really good action in them, but a lot of the time we get slower, fake science sort of series, don't we? It's a slower thing. So for them to go, kids are not going to be interested in that, but we want them to know Star Trek. Let's do a little bit of Star Wars was a brave move, but that's what it feels like they've done. They've gone, let's take the good bits from Star Wars, but mix it with Star Trek.
Would you say that using just the term science fiction, Star Wars leans more into the fiction aspect of that phrase, whereas Star Trek leans more into the science aspect of it? Whilst they're both science fiction, there's a much more heavy basis on making sure you get trekked in Star Trek.
100%. You've got Star Trek, which is like trekking the trek, teching the tech sort of stuff. So it feels, I guess you could say it feels more believable as to it could happen. If you were to be told, right, I'm going to give you these two things. You've got Star Wars on the left, you've got Star Trek on the right. I want you to watch both of them and then tell us, if we were to tell you one of these things could happen, which do you think it would be? I would say Star Trek is the one you'd go, well, yeah, I can see that being a real life progression for the human race and if we ever came across aliens. Whereas Star Wars is, you're right, it's 100% more fiction. It is, I can't see that. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's me and my whole, not anti-religion, but I'm not religious. Therefore, the whole idea of having some little sperm things that fly around in you and give you magical Jedi powers. Yes, Stiddy, you can also correct Rob on that one for me.
Correct me on you calling metachlorians. What did you call them?
Little sperm things. There you go. Metachlorian. Yeah, it's fine.
Well, I think that was a bit of a fuck up for the Phantom Menace. I'll allow that to be the one blemish on the Phantom Menace's otherwise perfect story. I'd also say, maybe the last thing to say about it, I'd say if we're going to put it in gaming terms, Star Wars is quote unquote arcadey.
Yes.
Is what I would say.
Yeah. Star Wars is the game that you're going to get feedback that you enjoy straight away.
Yeah.
Star Trek, you've got to be in it for the slog.
You're playing
it's going to be the game,
yeah.
And it's going to be, oh, for fuck's sake, it's a not skippable 10-minute cutscene at the beginning. Do I want to be doing this?
Yeah.
But if you hold on and you get through it, it's so worth it.
Really rewarding.
Whereas Star Wars just immediately blows its loads at the beginning, and you've got what you've got.
Yeah, 10 minutes talking, you can't pause it. You need a piss.
Yeah, and then you go for a piss and you come back and you're dead. And it's like, oh no. But again, it's not as bad as something like Battlestar Galactica, which is the 10-minute cutscene followed by you've now got to learn all the moves and you can't skip that either.
So you can't skip the tutorial.
Tutorial, that's the word I couldn't think of. So yeah, you've now got the cutscene and the tutorial to do.
Yeah. Okay, right. I know I said lots of tangents, but this one's a long one.
Well, no, but you're right. Prodigy has felt more Star Wars than Star Trek in this first episode. And
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that's a negative thing. As much as I'm not a huge fan of Star Wars, it's made me pay attention to it. And I reckon it's probably made any kid that's watched it pay attention to it more. Because if that had just done properly Star Trek, you would not have got half the action in that.
Yeah.
And I don't think it would have been as engrossing.
Yeah,
And I love Star Trek, but I'm happy to admit that.
yeah, it was not a negative to say it was like Star Wars at all. It's just a different way of doing Star Trek, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost the Lower Decks approach.
Yeah.
They went with fun, and rather than it being obviously adult orientated this time, they went fun and action because we know that's what kids want.
Yep.
Anyway, back to the episode then.
So anyway, the intro is finished.
Oh, God.
So the first thing I notice, it looks brilliant. The art style is great.
It does. They didn't do a random, horrible, jagged edge sort of art style.
Yeah.
They actually made it look really modern, but smooth and nice.
It's like Pixar-esque, like
There
quality.
is, yeah. You're
it's
right.
really good quality. And it's a really good scene as well. He's running.
Ooh.
Can you hear that?
We've got a little bit of a...
We're having a little technical issue. Suddenly,
These two are so unprofessional. Let me just skip ahead for you. One moment, please.
where were we? He's running away.
Right, so yes, the animation
We're
style...
still in the first
right,
5
so, yeah.
seconds of the show.
The animation style we really like.
Yes.
It's not too obnoxious, but it's also not too childlike, and it's not too completely out of the ordinary. It's a really nice mix of semi-realistic with
Yes.
cartoon overtones.
Yeah, and I was in it straight away. If I'm going to be watching something CGI, I want it to look nice.
Yes.
So I was happy straight away. Love the intro. Running through, he's like he's like a prisoner from what you can get at this point. Running, trying to plot his escape, isn't he? He like sees an exit above him, and there's like this a big mine cart full of this weird coloured gems getting pulled up, and he's counting the amount of time it takes for that to get up and past him.
Yes.
And he sees this kind of figure in the background, which looks like, if anyone's played Portal 2, it looks like one of the robots from Portal 2. Not the skinny, tall one, the short, fat, round one.
Yeah, okay, I get that. I hadn't thought about that. I was going for Claptrap.
Well, Claptrap is more like
A square, yeah.
kind of a square with a wheel.
Yeah, fair
So-
enough.
But you get the idea. Small little robot.
Small little droid of some sort.
Could be any droid that you see in any other Star Wars show that you
yeah,
might be watching.
R2-D2.
Maybe he's R2-D2. A mixture of R2-D2 and C-3PO. If R2-D2 had the arms and legs of C-3PO, that's the robot.
And wasn't as fucking
Similar.
annoying as C-3PO.
Yeah, it wasn't so annoying. Yeah, so... And then he starts kind of running through the... And I can no, sorry, I've gone way far. He's not running away yet. He's plotting.
He's
sees the
plotting.
robot, and then he gets confronted by General Grievous.
Yeah, so we'll go by the actual name, Dreadnought. So he
But
gets...
I didn't write any of those down,
Yeah,
so
no,
I'm going to
I've
do
got-
Star Wars acronyms for the
That's
whole way
fine.
through
I've got IMDb. You've got your notes. We'll meet in the middle. But yeah, Dreadnought confronts him. What do you know about Prisoner Zero?
Yeah. And so we've got to assume that that's Prisoner Zero. Fugitive Zero.
Fugitive Zero, sorry.
Fugitive Zero. Yeah, and then gets a bit more upset. The dark side starts to take hold of him a bit more. And he has to be saved. So Fugitive Zero starts fiddling with the control panels and blows something up.
Yeah.
And in that kind of mess, he then...
Oh, that's it, yeah.
He then-
Dreadnought basically converts an arm to something that looks like a red-hot poker. And
A
he's
lightsaber.
He's going to... Yeah, it's a lightsaber, isn't it? Let's face it. And he's about to kind of kill our main character, Dow.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Prisoner Zero rips out a power conduit because we're talking Star Trek finally, and the power goes out, lots of explosions.
Yes. And then whilst doing that, somehow Fugitive Zero managed to undo the security coupling thing on...
Well, I think that was because the power went out.
Oh, I thought it was only his that it happened to.
Oh, possibly then. Oh, okay, no, fair
That
enough.
was the impression I got. 'Cause I didn't see anyone else suddenly go, oh, clink.
Yeah,
my
true.
ankle-
Otherwise, everyone would have been
My
trying to
Asbo
escape.
bracelets. I've been undone.
Welcome to Planet Asbo.
Asbo. And now he's running away, getting chased by the Watchers, and it's a really good chase scene.
It's a great chase scene.
Jumping
it's
around,
so
like
action
yeah.
filled, but they keep it like the animation style. It's not too over the top, but they fit so much into it, and it looks so nice. It's so fluid.
And it goes on for a while.
It does.
A good few minutes of him running through, and he's like talking to himself as he's going through, because obviously he has to, because at the point none of us know anything that's going on. So he's kind of
Yeah.
was just talking to himself to kind of move the plot along while he's running along. And he kind of slides down this cool slide and finds a vehicle that he nicks off a guy who's trying to repair it.
Well, that's it. So, yeah, he tries to run one way and it just caves in. He's like, no, not that way. Yeah. And then he runs off. And, everything keeps going wrong. And he eventually falls down, doesn't he? And he comes across a spaceship.
Yep. And then he's in this... Well, it's kind of like a little hover car thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the
a little wagon.
Star Wars equivalent of a space dump truck.
Or a space Ford Transit.
Yeah, it's a transit. It's the transit that hasn't been looked after. You know, rust over the rear arches. Engine's got about 90,000 on it. It's never had the oil changed.
Yeah. He's going down this kind of... Now we're in the... What is it? The...
Speeds up for speed bumps.
Now, speeds up for speed. He's now going down a long corridor looking for the ventilation shaft of the mining planet. Oh no, sorry, that's the Death Star. Sorry, so he's going down this long corridor, avoiding stuff like rocks and gems and things that are all falling down, and gets this like factory bit where they're, I guess, crushing the rocks and stuff that they're mining.
He sees on the map it says something like, stone extraction or something extraction. So he thinks, well, that sounds good. That must be going out. So he goes up there and then he's like, this was a bad idea because everything is just kind of crushing and pulverizing as he's flying through it.
Yeah, and there's like this big ramp. I didn't really get this bit. There's like a big ramp. I guess it seems like it's catching the rocks and the rocks are falling down the ramp. And he must think if I go up this ramp enough, I might be able to get the air to get out of whatever this thing that he's in. Well, spoilers, he doesn't make it. Doesn't quite get there, falls down to Earth and, fade to black, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then we get the logo.
Then we finally get the name of the show, Prodigy.
Prodigy, yeah. Next is this is where I really would be like, now we're in Star Wars territory, because now we're with the baddies.
Yes.
Now we get the dun 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 dun.
dun. And then we've got the Emperor, or actually no,
Less Grievous is not the Emperor.
No, the one that's floating. So are we at that point yet? I can't.
Oh no, you see like his mouth, the side view of his mouth, and I instantly knew who the actor was playing that guy's voice. You know, before I look it up.
I don't.
John Noble.
It is John Noble playing the Diviner.
You cannot not know that dude's voice when he starts speaking.
True.
You kind of, or you'll be like, "What's that guy from? What's that guy from?"
But can I just point out again, very Star Wars-esque. Because when you finally see the Diviner on the outside, he's basically floating in a giant chamber.
Yeah.
It's like, so this is Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Just in his little kind of cocoon thing that you see them kind of screwing his lid back on in that part of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of floaty kind of Emperor hologram or Darth Vader-esque. That's what this is again.
One thing we didn't know is that no one can speak his language. We haven't mentioned that because they don't have the universal translators on the planet.
Yes. So they
turned it off.
So I can't remember if it happens then or it happens after. They say all of the universal translators have been removed from the planet, so no one can talk to each other. Therefore, you can't plot an escape. Very clever, actually, idea to have included that. So if you can't talk to the person next to you, you're not going to be able to escape. You're going to just have to work.
Yeah. And that's where this lady baddie comes into play, because she can speak loads and loads of different languages.
And she's the daughter of the Diviner. But yes, she can speak millions of languages.
So she's Princess Leia. In this scenario, the Star Wars scenario, she's Princess Leia because she's Darth Vader's daughter.
Yeah, basically.
Spoilers for anyone that hasn't seen Star Wars.
We've got to stop doing the Star Wars piss take now. Okay, I think they've got the idea. It is a Star Wars. They've taken a lot from Star Wars to make this,
at least in this
work.
one episode. And they've got some like bounty hunter there, so it kind of looks like they're populating this prison planet with bounties.
So they'd got the bloody hell! What was his race? Because it was a race from Voyager.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was. I didn't write it down for once. I normally write those bits down.
Oh, that's really annoyed me now. So I'm going to have to very, very quickly look it up. But yeah, you've got the race that is from Voyager, who basically brings
a little cat
prisoners to their planet to work in the mine.
Yeah.
In exchange for whatever it is. And
one can assume latinum, I suppose, or whatever currency they're using around here.
Yes.
But he's brought a little cat boy or girl.
Little cat creature, which was very sweet, to be fair.
Yeah.
Kazon.
That
was it. It was the Kazon trader. Interesting is also the voice for Rock,
Oh, the
rock creature. Yeah,
rock creature, yeah. Yeah, so then the lady tells him off for bringing a little kid. She then gets told off by General Grievous for saying you don't know what your dad wants.
yeah.
Although we shouldn't say dad yet. We don't. At this point, you don't know that the
You
boss
don't know
man's
what
her
he
dad.
wants. Yeah, basically.
But then that's where they then walk inside and we do hear the dad and her talking for a little bit about what he needs from this kid.
Yeah, so we get the idea that there's something else going on, especially because when she leaves, Dreadnought turns back up and he's like, I don't care what I've just told her. If she fails, just get the job done.
Yeah.
So we know that there's something else going on that he's not telling her, but that's what you get. That's what you get the feeling of anyway.
Yeah. And then we're back in the prison with the main character. You're really good at remembering all these names. I didn't write any of them down.
I've got IMDb in front of me.
Yeah, I didn't
So
write any of the names
Dow's
down.
in jail, or he's in the brig, or whatever you want to call it on this prison planet, and he's talking to a random voice who we don't know who it is. He doesn't know who it is, but just as they're getting into the conversation, the guards turn up and they pull him out, don't they? And he goes along and he looks into the prison cell next to him, and there's no one there. So we can then safely assume, well, is that Zero?
Yeah.
Is that Fugitive Zero that we're hearing about? And that's what he's kind of clocked onto. Is that the case?
Yeah.
And they take him up to go and see the daughter again. And honestly, I can't remember her
Gwen.
name.
I think her name was Gwen.
Yes, Gwen.
Yeah.
You know, that typical alien name that everyone has.
Yeah, I did write that one down.
I mean, we've got Dao, the main character. We've got Rock Tok, which is... I've got to stop doing things as Klingon. Rock Tok, which is the spiky rock. You've got Murph, who is the little slimy thing. You've got Zero, the ball of energy, who's got a robot. You've got Jankum Pog, which is the Talarian, did he say he was?
Something like that.
And then you've got Gwen.
You know what it's like? So the new Game of Thrones, House of Dragon, has got... You know how all the names in it are really cool names, like the Targaryens, yeah. Say, and it's going on, and it really... I got whiplash when I heard it, because there's a guy in it called Alan.
Oh my God. What?
Anyone who watches it would know what I'm on about. They're talking, and then suddenly he just says Alan, and I was like, what? The dude's called Alan?
Oh, that's just bloody stupid.
It's hilarious. He's character's fine enough. Just the name Alan really knocked me back.
Jeez.
Where were we? Yeah. So, he asks to eat some food on her desk. What's the food, TJ?
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't paying that much attention.
Honey lychees.
Oh, it's honey light. Oh, so they've obviously got human food then.
Yeah, honey lychees. Yeah.
Does he ask? I thought he just scoffed his face.
Specifically if he can have the honey lychees.
Oh, okay. But
then she kind of, I don't know if she like pushes them to him or does a kind of thing and the computer moves it over. I didn't really tell.
No,
I don't want to do another Star Wars thing. She
uses
moved
the
it,
force.
but it did seem like it just moved.
Yeah,
I might have just missed her touch it, but it felt like it just moved.
You kind of get the gist of, though, get the idea of, though, is that she is... Maybe everyone doesn't like her because obviously they're keeping them all prisoners.
Yeah.
But you get the idea that she's not really that interested in them being prisoners. She wants to be fair. She wants to be nice while keeping them prisoners.
These two know each other.
Yeah, there is a history
impression.
of some sort.
He clearly must get in some kind of trouble all the time.
Well, she says, doesn't she? You're always trying to escape. When are you going to learn that you can't?
Yeah.
So you get the idea, this isn't the first time this has all happened.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and then he gets... She kind of convinces him, kind of makes him really... I guess they want him to go undercover to capture...
Well, first of all, she
they?
sends him away, doesn't she? She gets the Watchers to come and say, no, take him away. You don't know anything about the Fugitive Zero. So, no, see you later. Off you go. You can go and die now. I'll let Dreadnought deal with you instead.
Yeah.
And then he finally says, no, I have spoken to them. They were in my head in this prison cell next to me. And she then says, fine. We think he's over here. That's where you're going. And he's like, but I'm tiny. I'm going to die there. I'm going to get crushed to death.
Deep
it's
core
just,
mining,
You get anywhere else, you find a way, basically.
Yeah. So basically send him to the lowest part of the...
Yeah, the deepest mining.
Yeah, mining with all the dwarves down in looking for mithril.
Hi-ho, hi-ho, it's off to mine we go.
In the Mines of Moria. Have you seen... You won't have seen the Lord of the Rings series, will you?
No.
And they've got like a whole section of the mines which is like closed off to people because it's where all the mithril is.
Yeah.
But it's really unstable and too many of them died in there, so the kings like blocked it off.
Okay.
Spoilers. I might cut that one in case people do actually want to watch that. Yeah, but he goes down the elevator and he watches a great little video. Don't they have like a safety video?
Oh, that was so beautiful.
Yeah.
That was just the right amount of comic relief you needed because we
Yeah.
hadn't had much up to that point. We'd had a couple of the
You
failures
just
with
had
him
him.
escaping.
Just him is the comic relief, really, isn't it? So far.
And then all of a sudden, you've got these perfect, like, I get it. Ticks, not crosses.
Yeah,
there's a lot
it's
of
like-
crosses here.
If you do this, it has puts a big X, like, and it's all like really funny little cartoon things as well. Like if you've ever been on a ride at Disney or whatever, and they play those little videos about getting into the rides and stuff, it was kind of like that.
Yeah, and it just suddenly even dawned on me now because we're talking about it. It makes absolute sense that they've done it like that. Because no one knows a language.
Yeah.
No one's got one specific language. So you have to do it like that. And it is how everyone does it, don't they? They do it with funny little cartoons because it draws your attention to it. It makes you remember it. So
Yeah. And it comes back a bit later, this video, in a really funny way. Did you know? If you
I
might
didn't
not have
see
noticed
it.
Okay, well, I'll tell you when we get there. So they're doing the crosses and the ticks, and it's showing how they pair you up by attaching your two ankles together by a long cord.
yes.
And then it puts like two ticks because you're nice, happy, stuck together. And it's like if one person goes the other way and one person goes, then it goes like two X's. Like,
Yeah.
that's the gist of the show, of the thing. You know, getting crushed by rocks, big X. It's quite funny.
Yes.
And he gets stuck with this the biggest red rock monster out of all, like a big golem made of like red. Like the thing in Fantastic Four.
Just a little bit more pointy.
A bit more pointy and red.
Yeah,
rather
I
than
think
orange.
they're called the Bricker or Brycar.
And the rock, I wrote Red Rock Man gets annoyed because they
It
appear,
roars at him, a kind of guttural,
Yeah.
loud roar.
Yeah, to get him to walk along with them. And then they're mining, and he's not really mining. He's like drawing on the floor to try and explain to the rock monster how he wants to
It's like,
escape.
yeah, look, I need to do this, so can you please do this with me? And it's like he's just more interested in actually just working.
Yeah, and he draws this little spaceship on the floor with a picture of his face above it, and the rock is like, and then he goes, and you too, and then draws their face next to it, which I thought, again, he's the comic relief, and he's genuinely quite funny,
Yeah.
as well, because at this point, nothing else is funny. He is the funny thing. Everything around him is actually a bit serious, other than like the little comedy bit on the lift.
And this is what I'm tying, why I said I'd bring it up later. I tie it more into kind of the Kelvin timeline of Star Trek, because he feels exactly like how Chris Pine portrays Kirk in the modern films.
Yes.
Not taking things seriously, comic relief, doing things because he's going headfirst into it rather than standing back and thinking about it. And it just felt very much like a story arc taken from that, doesn't it?
Like a Mr. Bean-esque character.
Almost, yeah.
And what's the... people will have a go at me for not remembering his name. You know that the old TV show where you've got that guy and he gets stuck on those roller skates and he's roller skating?
Oh, Frank Spencer, or
Yeah.
Some Mothers Do Have Them, as
Yeah.
the show was called.
That is very, very much like that. He can never get hurt because he's just so clumsy and just
Yeah.
messing everything up. Everything, the carnage happens around him.
Yeah.
He's the eye of the storm.
He will create
Yeah.
the carnage, but he will come out at the end unscathed.
Yeah. Oh, it's not on the mic. Sorry, everyone. Now, loads of rocks fall on him.
Yes.
Now, this
So-
is where it comes, what I'm talking about. As the rocks are about to crush him, he goes, "It's a big X."
Yes, I know what you mean now. Brilliant. But yeah, that's all caused because Rock wants to work.
And he doesn't want to.
He doesn't. He yanks the rope, doesn't he? Which means he fires his laser mining tool
Yeah.
and causes the rock side.
Yeah. Yeah, he says something like, "I'm going to be an X," or "It's a big X." He makes a very quick,
Yes.
loud joke about the X, which is really funny. But no, rock monster defends him.
Yeah, he saves him.
Yeah.
And even then, he's still a bit of a dick to the rock monster after that, I thought. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
he's just saved it. And then you're still being a bit dickish towards him.
Now, did they fall down somewhere?
Yes, so I think the floor gives way and they fall down into a cavern below.
Yeah.
And the first thing you notice is, oh my God, look at all of this special ore that we've been looking for. We've got enough here to pay our way off the planet.
Yeah, he's
Actually,
pocketing
hell
it,
no,
yeah.
we've got enough here to buy a ship
Yeah.
from that. Oh God, brain's already stopped working.
Just from those gemstone things.
Yeah, no, from the race that we were. I've already kind of said, and I already can't remember. For God's sake, Kazon. Yeah, we've got enough to buy the ship, let alone pay our way off the planet.
Yeah.
So that's brilliant. And then, Rock keeps walking towards the Prodigy. Well, we don't know what it is, but what looks vaguely familiar to the USS Voyager.
Yeah. A very cool. It looked like a really cool ship.
It does.
And I did think, that's Voyager, and I'm thinking, what year is this meant to be? You know, why is Voyager there? It wasn't until they got on the ship and the bridge looked nothing like Voyager when I was like, okay, well, it mustn't be Voyager. It must just be they just have obviously modelled it on that.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm just looking at the proto.
And because I've seen
now.
pictures of season 2 of characters that are in it, I kind of thought there must be a link between Voyager and this.
Okay, so the Protostar is a form of class called the Protostar class.
Right.
And yes, it's the USS Protostar is its name.
They named a ship after its class.
Interesting,
Because
yeah.
the Enterprise isn't an Enterprise class ship, is it? The Enterprise is the Enterprise.
So yeah, it depends on what you're looking. You've had the Constitution class, you've had the Galaxy class, God, I can't remember what the Enterprise E is, and that's terrible. Enterprise E. It's going to really bug me, so I'm going to have to look it up now.
Well, anyway.
Sovereign class.
Sovereign
there you go.
class, there you go, yeah. So, and the ship looks great on the outside. They go inside, it looks great on the inside. Really cool, high-tech, but not, horrible high-techy like in Discovery. It looked like a normal...
It looked like something from the Federation that we know.
Yeah.
It wasn't radically changed to give us a Star Wars-esque for ship, seeing that we were saying Star Wars so much. But it's a Federation ship that we could recognise. You could say, like we have been, well, that front section of the ship is very Voyager-esque.
Yeah.
So for us, immediately our brains click and go, is that Voyager? It's a Federation ship, because you know that design.
Yeah.
That design is in our brains as it's Federation, it's Star Trek. So Prodigy have kept that, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
It was necessary. Interesting. I didn't realise this. Do you know, I'm sure this will come up, and I mean, come on, if you're listening to this, you probably watched Prodigy already. I know who the captain of the Prodigy was, of the Protostar was.
Well, I'm going to say who I thought it was, Captain Janeway.
No.
Oh, Dirty Kim.
Chakotay.
Oh, really? Chakotay is. Oh, right.
Chakotay. I can never get his name right the first time. Yeah, Chakotay. So apparently here, under the command of Chakotay for a return mission to the Delta Quadrant, undertaken in the years after the return to US.
He wants to go back to the Delta.
100% explains why the Kazon are in it, because this means they're in the Delta Quadrant.
Oh.
Anyway, that's probably ruining it for ourselves. So I'm not going to look at that anymore, because that's gonna.
Yeah, I plan to watch this. So.
That's got to come up in later episodes. So no, I'm not looking at that anymore. Ignore me. But anyway, yeah, we get the smoke and the light, and we get the Protostar. There it is, and that's the end of the episode, isn't it?
Turns on. The translator starts working.
Yes, okay, so yeah, we get Rock walking
Big,
around the
scary
bridge
Rock
with
man.
Dow, and Dow's kind of, oh, wow, look at all of this, and Rock just walks over and goes, ooh, shiny, at the, basically the veteran, I can't think of what they call it. My brain's just gone to mush, I'm so sorry, everyone. But basically, the combat shape.
Yeah.
And I know it's got a name.
Well, the thing about it is the big, scary rock man has a little girl's voice.
Well, yeah, so he presses the combat shape, and the ship turns on. And then Dow basically, what have you done? And yeah, we get little child voice.
Yeah.
As I can understand you. I can understand you.
Yeah. And then
Delta, there you go. They're
Delta.
called the Delta or Arrowhead.
And then Fugitive Zero appears, makes some kind of cool action movie star cliffhanger reference.
Yes.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah, and that's where it stops.
And that's where it says.
And it's quite dangerous because Netflix basically runs the two together without even telling you it started
It's
episode
like
2. It's
5
just
seconds
straight in.
and it starts the next one.
Yeah.
It doesn't give you. We've been watching a lot of Disney, and you get a bit of credits, then you get 20 seconds.
Yeah, then bottom left corner you get a little rectangle, don't
Yeah.
you? On the iPad you do, and it says next episode starting in next episode starts.
Yeah.
It didn't in Netflix. Normally Netflix does that. It normally says next episode about to play. This it just went straight into it.
I thought that as well.
Confused the hell out of me.
Yeah, because it kind of like started doing an end credit and it's like, boom, next episode. Okay, well, stop now because I didn't say we're doing another episode.
100%. I'm going to say very little now because I know you're going to press the stop button.
Transfer complete.
What did you think?
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I thought it was, for once, something that was not just new, but well thought out and good. It wasn't just we've got the Star Trek name, let's make it super kid friendly. For me, anyone could have watched that and enjoyed it. There was no, it's more towards the adult, it's more towards the children. Like, actually, your words of it's like a Pixar film is actually more true than you think, because you look at things like Toy Story and there's always the adult jokes in there that the kids will never get, but it's something for the adults. And they've done that in this, like the little video with the crosses and the ticks about the safety. The kids might find it funny, but the adults will find that funnier because you've gone through it at some point in your life where you've
watched training videos.
You've done the health and safety bloody training.
Yeah.
So it's more like Pixar than I think actually I gave it credit for. There's a lot for adults, a lot for kids. They blew it out of the park. Brilliant. Really good. How about you?
I reckon Kay could watch that and be quite happy watching it. I don't know if she's into that kind of stuff, but she's the age that I think could watch it.
I'd quite like her to watch it. Whether or not I can persuade her to is another matter, because she's watched a couple of DS9 episodes with me in the background, and she's then asked, are you going to watch one of those again? And I've said no, and then I've seen she's going to, but doesn't really want to say, can you put one on?
Well, ask her to watch it.
She's Star Trek curious.
Why don't you ask her to watch that one and then record her thoughts and we can play it in the next one?
That's a good idea. Yeah, no, I will do, because it's only 20 odd minutes.
Yeah.
And she's got the attention span for that.
Yeah.
Just. She's 10. Come on. Give me a break, you fuckers.
What did I think of it? I really liked it. So pleasantly surprised. Again, I would never have watched it in a million years. It would never really have, even though you spoke about it, it never kind of crossed my mind to watch it until a lot of people were making waves about the second series and how much everyone seemed to like it.
Well, yeah, the whole Save Lower Decks team saying we've managed to save Prodigy
Yeah.
basically stirred both of us to go, well, if people are fighting that hard to get a show saved, there's got to be something about it.
They like that as much as we like Lower Decks. There must be something good about
And they
Prodigy.
were right.
Yeah.
They're 100% right.
Yeah.
It was that good.
I'm going to watch the rest. I'm really looking forward to actually seeing if it holds that quality all the way through, and particularly season 2, how season 2 pans out.
Well, that's going to be the interesting point, isn't it? So season 1, I'm just looking here, season 1 has 20 episodes.
20 episodes? Okay, wow.
Yeah, 20 episodes.
It's a proper Star Trek series then.
It is. And then you got into season 2. Now, my issue is going to be, will the writing of season 2 be as good as the first? Have they changed writers because they had to change who was producing it and everything like that? Mm-hmm. Was the storyline already thought out before they cancelled it and they're just going to carry it on? Or did they have to say, no, you're right, we'll bring it back, and they've just gone, right, shit, we've got to think of a story now?
I guess it depends how series 1 ends.
Yeah, well, that's also very true.
If it's a cliffhanger or not.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what shows like this can be like? They can end on a cliffhanger, and then the next season, a year has passed, you get a 5-minute, this is how we got out of that sticky situation, and then it's a completely different storyline.
Yeah.
And that would be disappointing, but I'll hold out kind of any thoughts on that until I've seen it.
Yeah,
But no, I think well worth watching.
absolutely. Well happy with it.
Command functions are offline.
So it's the end. Probably the shortest Trek episode that we've watched. Well, absolutely it's the shortest, because the Lower Decks ones aren't 22 minutes. They're longer than that, aren't they?
No, they're about 22 or 25 minutes, because
okay.
you've got to consider about advertising that you've got to fit in between it. And it's,
Oh, yeah.
so I think they're probably about the same length.
Yeah, they're American as well, aren't they? So they do. I remember the first time we went on holiday there and we watched some TV, and it was like, does the intro of the show, then adverts, then the first part of the show, then adverts, then the second part of the show, then adverts, then the credits. Imagine knowing when the show's over, you've got 3 more runs of credits before you see the start of the next show, because you've got credits and so you've got adverts, end credits, adverts, intro, adverts.
It's just.
And I hate adverts. I absolutely hate them.
Okay, so Lower Decks runtime 25 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Prodigy 23 minutes.
Oh, okay. It just felt a lot shorter.
But that could be to do with, don't forget, 23 minutes, it's a kid's show. They've got to fit more adverts in for toys.
Yeah. it just felt
Or is that too
way
cynical?
shorter than just being 2 minutes shorter. Or maybe I just super enjoyed it and just felt really quick.
Well, I think that might be more likely. I think actually the enjoyment I got from that was really high. So actually, that's why I was surprised. I got halfway through the second episode before I realised, oh shit, it started the second episode. I was enjoying it that much. I hadn't even kind of noticed that it'd been going on for longer than I thought. Time had gone like that.
Yeah.
It's the sort of thing, it's when you go to see a good film and you realise, oh, it's the end of the film and I haven't got a numb bum. Brilliant.
Next episode, I think I would like to do some more questions. I love the question ones. When we get questions
No, I
in,
really enjoy the
find them really fun. I
questions.
think we should do a few episodes, then questions, 50% questions. And then after that, I think I'm going to pick up a card, unless you can think of a different thing that you want to watch.
No, I think Picard's a good
Picard would be
idea,
good.
actually. I think maybe the first episode of Picard
Yeah.
season 1.
Get one of every single season in, and of every single type of Star Trek there's been, because I think we'll do a Picard, and then I will pick a Discovery that I want you to watch.
Yeah, fair enough.
So there's kind of the next 3 sorted.
Yeah, well, next 4, because then I want to show you a specific Deep Space Nine one, which
Okay.
is, it's not a happy one, but I think it's a very powerful episode, and it really demonstrates the difference in quality of writing that Deep Space Nine got compared to all of the seasons.
Well, we managed to get a few laughs out of Worf trying to commit suicide for an hour. So I think we might be okay. And I was really worried about that episode.
Dead.
Where can they find us, DJ?
They can find us on channel84.co.uk. Head over to the Untitled Trek Show, as we are part of the Studio Channel 84 network. If you head over to the Untitled Trek Show on channel84.co.uk, you can find all the information about our social media, which is as standard, really: X, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. We're all on those, and all our links are on that site. You can also head over to channel.84 let's try that one again. channel84.co.uk/Discord, and that will take you to our Discord server. And then if you want to email us, you can email rob@channel84.co.uk to go directly to Rob. To come directly to me, you do tj@channel84.co.uk. Or if you want to speak to both of us at the same time and tell us we're both idiots about Star Wars, then you send it to podcasts@channel84.co.uk. There you go.
Thanks, mate.
You're welcome.
As always. Love you.
Love you.
Thank you for listening to the Channel 84 Untitled Trek Show. This station is now shutting down and will be back in 2 weeks. Excelsior. You think because you haven't heard the beep yet that there might be something extra here? Well, tough shit. Nothing this week. Only joking. Check this out. Studio Channel 84 is proud to present Lightly Used, a new podcast hosted by Karen and Adam. Now these two are proper hosts, not like those other two twats.
Rightly Used with Adam and Karen.
Oh, my ears are poking out.
No, you've got
really quite petite ears, actually. I've never noticed until you just pointed it out. That's really funny. Open your hands, but not your eyes. Pew, 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 pew. Yeah, what's the word I'm looking for? Phallic.
There's got to be an easier way to play this game. This is even the beginner level.
Maybe we should just, not smoke before we start doing new stuff, and then the rules might sink in.
The rules were an A4 page, 4 sides of A4. Oh, well.
Oh, hang on a minute. Glamour suspenders, stockings. Is that a man?
It's opening on the interesting pages. It's opening on the underwear pages.
Visit rightlyused.co.uk for more.
Wonderful, don't you think? Available now from a podcast player near you. This was a Studio Channel 84 network show. To find more, head over to channel84.co.uk now.